Good evening and welcome to this April 24th, 2024 meeting of the Lake Bluff Village Board of Trustees. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fisher.
Here.
Trustee Cole is absent. Trustee Freed.
Here.
Trustee Hatch is absent. Trustee Ryder.
Here.
Trustee Rappin is absent.
Thank you. Please stand and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next on our agenda today are 4 awards and proclamation, and the first one being declaring May 2024 National Preservation Month in the village of Lake Bluff. Whereas the National Trust for Historic Preservation established May as Historic Preservation Month in 1973 as a way to promote historic places for the purpose of instilling national and community pride, promoting heritage tourism, and showing the social and economic benefits of historic preservation. And whereas historic preservation is an effective tool for managing growth, revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character while enhancing livability. And whereas historic preservation is relevant for all communities across the nation, both urban and rural, and for Americans of all ages and all walks of life. And whereas it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contributions made by dedicated individuals in helping to preserve the tangible aspects of the heritage that has shaped our village. And whereas the Lake Bluff Historic Preservation Commission and the Lake Bluff History Museum both help our village protect and preserve the beauty of our landscapes and architecture, our neighborhood character, and our civic pride in our past accomplishments. Now, therefore, I, Régis Charlot, village president of the village of Lake Bluff, Illinois, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2024 as National Preservation Month in the village of Lake Bluff, and call upon the people of Lake Bluff to join their fellow citizens across the United States in recognizing this special observation by visiting the Lake Bluff Museum, a historic museum. Thank you. Next would be a proclamation declaring May 2024 as National Bike Month and the week of May 13 to 19, 2024 as Bike to Work Week in the village of Lake Bluff. Whereas for more than a century, the bicycle has been a utilitarian, economical, environmentally sound and effective means of personal transportation, recreation, and fitness. And whereas the education of bicyclists and motorists as to the proper and safe operations of bicycles is important to ensure the safety and comfort of all users. And whereas Illinois' Robert McClory Trail and the North Shore Bike Path attract thousands of bicyclists each year from around the greater Chicagoland area, providing economic, health, and scenic benefits to the citizens of Illinois and Lake Bluff. And whereas creating bicycle-friendly communities has been shown to improve citizens' health, well-being, and quality of life, to boost community spirit, to improve traffic safety, and to reduce pollution and congestion. And whereas the village of Lake Bluff, Illinois, recognizes the use of bicycle as a viable mode of transportation, endeavors to promote safe and responsible bicycling, and is committed to incorporating the development of bicycle facilities in the vision for Lake Bluff. And whereas the League of American Bicyclists, bicycle clubs, schools, parks and recreation departments, police departments, hospitals, companies, and civic groups through the nation will be promoting bicycling as a leisure activity as well as an environmentally friendly alternative to the automobile during the month of May 2024. So now, therefore, I, Régis Charlot, Village President of the Village of Lake Bluff, Illinois, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2024 National Bike Month and Bike Safety Month in the Village of Lake Bluff, and the week of May 13 to 19, 2024 as Bike to Work Week in the Village of Lake Bluff, and call upon the people of Lake Bluff to share the road safely, please, with bicyclists and ride their bicycles to work, to the store, to the park, around their neighbors, and with friends and family to promote the personal and societal benefits achieved from bicycling. So thank you. And I hope we'll have a police department again teaching our children the proper ways to ride bikes in Lake Bluff. Thank you, Eric. Next, as a proclamation, would be declaring May 11th, 2024 World Migratory Bird Day. Whereas migratory birds are some of the most beautiful and easily observed wildlife that share our community. And whereas Lake Bluff is part of an important migratory bird route on the Lake Michigan corridor. And whereas many citizens recognize and welcome migratory songbirds and aquatic birds as symbolic harbingers of spring. And whereas these migrant species also play an important economic role in our village, controlling insect pests and attracting birders to visit from outside our community. And whereas migratory birds and their habitats are declining through the Americas, facing a growing number of threats on their migration routes and in both their summer and winter homes. And whereas public awareness of concern are crucial components of migratory bird conservation. And whereas citizens enthusiastic about birds, informed about the threats they face, and empowered to help address those threats can directly contribute to maintaining healthy bird populations. And whereas since 1993, World Migratory Bird Day, formerly International Migratory Bird Day, has become a primary vehicle for focusing public attention on the nearly 350 species that travel from wintering in South and Central America, Mexico, and the Caribbean, and the southern United States to nesting habitats in our community and through North America. And whereas light pollution attracts and disorients nocturnally migrating birds, making them more likely to land in areas that are where they are more vulnerable to collisions and other dangers. Individuals, communities, and governments are encouraged to dim the lights at night, as we have been. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Régis Charlot, Village President of the Village of Lake Bluff, Illinois, proclaim May 11, 2024 as World Migratory Bird Day and urge all citizens to celebrate this observance and to support efforts to protect and conserve migratory birds in their habitats in our village and the world at large. And to follow that with a small comment, that is, we lost half of our birds. And so it's an important subject. So thank you. And last, as a proclamation, is designating May 2024 as Mental Health Awareness Month in Lake Bluff. Whereas the Village of Lake Bluff has recognized healthy communities as a priority, and whereas there is a proven connection between mental health and physical health, and whereas health promotion and service integration are reflected in combining mental health and substance abuse service strategies, and whereas mental illnesses and substance use disorders affect almost every family in America, and whereas people with mental illnesses and substance use disorders recover if given the necessary services and support in their communities. And whereas people with mental illnesses and substance use disorders make important contributions to our families and our communities. And whereas only 1 out of 2 people with a serious form of mental illness or substance use disorder seeks treatment for his or her behavioral health conditions. And whereas the average delay between the onset of mental health symptoms and treatment is 11 years apart. And whereas stigma and fear of discrimination keep many who would benefit from mental health and substance use disorder services from seeking help. And whereas research shows that the most effective way to reduce stigma is through personal contact with someone with a behavioral health conditions. And whereas both mental health and physical health are critical to the well-being of our families, communities, schools, and businesses. And whereas greater public awareness about mental illness and substance use disorders can change negative attitudes and behaviors toward people with these conditions. And so now, therefore, I, Régis Charlot, Village President of the Village of Lake Bluff, Illinois, do hereby proclaim May 2024 Mental Health Awareness Month in the Village of Lake Bluff and call upon the people of Lake Bluff to wholeheartedly recognize the importance of mental health to our village and our nation. Thank you. Next on our list is item 4, the consideration of the April 8, 2024 regular village board meeting. Is there a motion to approve the village board minutes?
Motion to approve. Second.
Thank you. Are there any changes? I think there was one typo.
Yeah, one typo, just
I'm
missing
nitpicking. Okay.
the tense, verb tense was wrong on page, page 5, it's following item,
13.
item number 13, board item 14, but it's the, 4th paragraph. Trustee Fisher said she is concerned because it needs to be concerned.
I was gonna let it go, but I did see that typo.
You can let that go, that concern. Thank you. Any more comments?
There is another one, sorry. The top paragraph on, guess is page 8. Again, Trustee Fisher expressed her appreciate.
I saw that too.
Again, Trustee Fisher.
Trustee Fisher expressed her appreciate for paragraph 4.6.
Appreciation, got it. Sorry about that.
Thank you. If there are no more changes, clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Freed,
Aye.
Trustee Ryder,
Aye.
Trustee Fisher.
Aye.
Thank you. So next are our non-agenda items and visitors. The village president and board of trustees allocates 15 minutes during this item for those individuals who would like the opportunity to address the village board of trustees on any matter not listed on the agenda. Each person addressing the village board of trustees is asked to limit their comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. I do not see anybody in the room with any specific subject. What about online?
There's 2 participants in the Zoom meeting. If either of you wish to be heard at this time and want to address the board on something not on the agenda, please raise your hand. You'll be recognized. No one.
Thank you, and I say we move on. Next, the village board sets the order of the meeting. The village president and board of trustees will entertain requests from anyone present on the order of business to be conducted during this village board meeting. And I recognize item 22 as a potential next item. Is there anything else? And I say we move on to item 22.
Without objection.
Without objection. Moving on to item 22. Item 22 would be a resolution adopting, a resolution authorizing a first amendment to the non-exclusive license agreement by and between the Village of Lake Bluff and the Lake Bluff Yacht Club. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. As you will recall, the North Shore Water Reclamation District started construction on an overflow basin down at Sunrise Beach in early April 2023. In December 2023, the village and the Lake Bluff Yacht Club, LBYC, entered into a non-exclusive license agreement that authorized LBYC to install, maintain, and operate a compound on a portion of village property located on Sunrise Beach. NSWRD, realizing that they would not meet their goal of completing construction by Memorial Day weekend, decided they would place construction activity on pause and vacate the beach until after this Labor Day weekend. With that news, the Lake Bluff Park District and LBYC developed plans to provide summer programming and LBYC sailing activities. In order to securely store boats and related sailing equipments, LBYC and LBPD, the Park District, need to install a temporary compound on the licensed premises. The attached resolution authorizes an amendment to the agreement for which will allow for the temporary compound to be installed for this summer. And here with us, we have the LBYC Commodore, Gretchen Seymour, if you have a few words to say. Only if you have a few words.
No, just thank you. Hi, just thank you very much for the support, and we're just really happy that the kids can get back sailing this summer and a little bit bringing that program back. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Any questions on the board? Shamelessly, I would like to add that I'm also a sailor, that I'm very interested in that space, so if I put that at disclosure. Is that a roll call?
Roll call.
A roll.
Trustee Ryder?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher?
Aye.
Trustee Freed?
Aye.
President Charlot?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Gretchen, congratulations. Have fun. Resuming the order of business. And that would be item 7A. Our warrants report for April 9 to April 22, 2024. Is there a motion to approve the warrants report?
So moved.
Seconded.
Thank you. And the warrants report is for expenditure of village funds for payment of invoices in the amount of $291,130.83 for April 9 to April 22nd, 2024, for a total expenditure of $291,130.83. Do we have questions for Bettina or Drew on this item on the board? And as I do not see questions, this is it's a roll call. Okay. Clerk?
Trustee Fisher?
Aye.
Trustee Freed?
Aye.
Trustee Ryder?
Aye.
President Charlot?
Aye. Thank you. Next on our agenda is our March 2024 finance report. Is there a motion to approve a finance report?
So moved.
Seconded.
Thank you. Bettina, would you mind giving us highlights?
Sure. The monthly sales tax revenue on a cash basis for March fiscal year '24 is $400,919, which is $5,326, or 1.3% greater than fiscal year '23 cash basis receipts for the same period. General fund fiscal year '24 total revenues of $12,372,838 are $230,277 less than the fiscal year '23 revenues to date. If one-time fiscal year 23 ARPA revenues of 378,451 were excluded from the revenue comparison, total revenues would reflect an increase of 148,174, or 1.2%. Fiscal year 24 current expenditures are consistent with or less than budgeted for the total general fund, and the fiscal year-to-date expenditures of $11,900,216 are $1,449,457 greater than the expenditures for the same period in fiscal year 23. So this is primarily attributed to increased interfund transfers to the capital fund of $500,000 and the additional $55,000 Social Security fund transfer, and the public safety roof replacement for approximately $500,000, and also some retroactive salary increases related to CBA.
Any question to Bettina?
No questions?
No questions?
No.
And this would be a,
Voice vote.
it's a voice vote, right? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much, Bettina. Next would be our village administrator's report,
I have
Mr.
no report this evening.
Thank you. And tonight, our village attorney, who is Courtney Willets tonight. Do you have a report for us?
No report.
Thank you. And that would be followed by my report item, and especially item 10A, that would be first on my report, and appointments to village advisory boards and commissions. Could I please, it's actually, I could ask a motion afterward.
Do a motion for, to consent to all of them. If you just read them, we just need to make it clear for the record, but you could just do one motion.
Got it. So for background, the village president is required by the municipal board, municipal code to appoint or reappoint members to the village advisory village boards and commissions, subject to the consent of the board of trustees. And so we, those were all reappointments, I should say. And so we had for the architectural board of review, Robert Hunter, as a board
He's already,
chair.
yeah, you don't have to reappoint him, he's already chair.
He's
But,
already the chair.
So he's good.
Yeah.
So, and we had Scott Stradiff. For the PCZBA, we had Deb Fisher, we have Elliot Miller, and we have George Russell, and we have Aaron Toll. For the Board of Police and Fire, we have Kimberly Hauer and Jerry McDermott. For the police pension, we have Tim Morris and Mark Betts, who's actually,
Police officer.
He's a police
Retired
officer.
yeah.
we have for the HPC, the Historic Preservation Commissions, we have Jenny Church, and we have Randolph Liebelt. And Randolph will not be reappointed, by the way. Randolph has retired from the board per his request. And we have a Senior Resource Commission. We have Jill Dahlman, Jill Rosa, and Mark DeWart. For the committee representing our young adults, we have Kristen Carr. Now, one thing I'd like to say is I had the pleasure to speak with the volunteer members, and I'm extremely pleased to report there was never a question or an hesitation about volunteer commitment to a next term. It's very impressive. It shows the dedication to our community. In other words, the spirit in our community is very high. I would like also the opportunity to commend Architecture Board of Review Chair Robert Hunter. Robert's probably hiding right now, for committing to another term. This will be a total of 47 years of service to the village in a volunteer capacity. This is, to me, wonderful and totally humbling. And the only thing I can say to Bob is thank you, Bob.
So you're looking for a motion to
So-
approve that slate of appointments?
Yes.
Yes, so could I please have a motion to approve this slate of,
Motion to approve the slate.
Seconded.
thank you.
Voice vote.
It's a
Voice vote.
voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So thank you, and thank you for this motion, and thank you for the 12 volunteers who again signed up to be working for our community. So thank you very much. Next item on my list is Drew and I met with resident Kathy Weingart Ryan at 249 East Sheridan Road and Eldred at 240 East Sheridan Road to discuss the stretch of roads on Sheridan considering a stretch of road on Sheridan considering poor pavement and sidewalk shape and high motorist speed. This state road and state of road issue has been brought up to Senator Johnny Morrison and the IDOT office coordinator for the Bureau of Maintenance for the Illinois Department of Transportation District 1. We will also bring this issue to Representative Bob Morgan on this Friday. Okay? And last on my list is on this past Friday, following last Wednesday PCCBA committee meeting, Park District Chair Jennifer Biller emailed us asking for a village term letter settling commitment towards a grant, village monetary grant intended for pickleball court relocation, thereby affecting the Park District commitment toward attending the next May 15 PCCBA meeting. We had intended to draft such a letter. We now have a draft, and I would like to discuss on this draft. Is this okay?
Sure.
So this draft is basically announcing our commitment, the Village of Lake Bluff commitment to financially support the Lake Bluff Park District in properly establishing pickleball facilities within the village. This draft is specifically announcing we are committed to a partnership. We will be an investor in pickleball facilities in the village for the Rio space that will be soon to come for the Park District. We will make a significant capital investment in supporting the construction of pickleball facilities in Lake Bluff, following ordinances, zoning ordinances and noise ordinances. We will make a grant to the Park District in the form of a reimbursement. Now, this will be memorialized as an intergovernmental agreement between the village and the Park District that will need to be completed after the Village Rio process is finalized to more properly account for all grant provisions. So we'll have guardrails around this memo. And we look forward to this partnership because it is very beneficial to the community, as past partnership, for example, the Robert McClory Trail, have been beneficial to our community. Are there reactions and comments on the board? The intent is to provide a draft to the Park District in a short order and to basically state our position for how we can help and assist the Park District to continue doing a better job with pickleball courts for the community.
I just have one question regarding the email that came in on Friday. I don't read it to say, unless I'm missing something, that their participation on the May 15th continuation of the hearing was dependent on us providing this letter. Rather, it would have a, quote, profound impact on the continued hearing. Do I understand you to say that there's been other conversations where the statement was more direct? That is, whether they would continue the hearing was dependent on us providing this letter, or are you, okay. Okay. That's, the covering email suggested that, and I just wanted to understand if what we were referring to was this statement at the last.
That was not our understanding.
Okay. Because the statement simply says it will have a profound impact, rather than impact being that there will be no continued hearing.
So my mistake on this distinction.
Okay.
So that is purely my mistake on that.
Okay. And then I read through the letter and noted that we aren't stating that there'll be $100,000 blank check, but instead contribute up to that amount if that's what's called for. Is that your understanding? I want to be sure that that's.
Is my understanding, it is up to $100,000,
Oh.
and it is with guardrails as there are conditions to fulfill in terms of form before we arrive to this reimbursement literally.
And
I think there was, just a little footnote on that, I think there was conversation that you and I had where you were talking about there may be reason for the village to invest more if there was some other reason, like if it was, there was landscaping or furthering some other policy of the village just by chance if something popped up that no one foresaw at this moment, but this, at least just throw that out there, at least that it was some sort of dollar figure that I think people were trying to get their arms around. What was the scale of this opportunity really?
Correct.
And the maintenance thereafter would be the maintenance of the park district maintenance, right? Filling cracks 20
It
years
is
from
there.
now, that kind of thing.
Our understanding is we're here for a temporary help, for spot help to actually get out of a bad situation. And we're happy to do so, and we will move forward with a great infrastructure that will be maintained by the park district like any other parks in town.
Yeah, I'm supportive of this letter. It is far better than litigation to spend the money in this way. I'll just continue to be frustrated that this is where we are, but I'm supportive of this in an effort to get compliance with our zoning codes and get relief for the neighbors.
Thank you. It is my feeling as well.
I'll just say a little something since I've been involved in this topic since last summer. And I'm happy you spoke up, Susan. I think you hit the nail on the head when we do a cost-benefit analysis, but not just in dollars, but in goodwill and the community vibe. There's a benefit to us working together. And it occurred to me as you were speaking, I was in court today and a judge said something that many times people will come before the court or ask their lawyer to continue on a path of, litigation based on the principle of the thing. And we could hold on to the principle, but the principle can be very expensive. And I think what we see is we have neighbors who have been hurt and are desperate for relief, and we are going to help provide that relief and provide movement and change while also continuing to support a sport that grew very rapidly and is exciting and people enjoy it and brings joy to our community. We just want to do it the right way. I think it also gives us this opportunity to turn a leaf, hopefully with better relations and better partnership with our other government entities. So I'm hopeful. I think, I think there has been a new energy surrounding this topic. I think the community is sick of a fight, and I'm hoping we move swiftly in clarifying and having a good plan for the future.
Thank you. Shayna.
Very supportive and excited for us all to move forward.
Thank you. And again, we reaffirm the support for pickleball in this community. Some of us are lifelong racquetball players, racket players or ball and racket players. And so it's for the benefit of the community, and we need to move forward with having the community at heart and having fun at heart as well. So thank you. Next, if I can move forward, on our agenda is the consent agenda. And so on our consent agenda tonight, we have item 11, the acceptance of a correspondence. Please note that all correspondence was delivered to the Village Board of Trustees in the informational reports on April 5 and April 12, 2024. Item 12 is second reading of an ordinance amending Title I of the Municipal Code of the Village of Lake Bluff regarding the comprehensive fee schedule. Item 13, a second reading of an ordinance granting variations to construct an accessory storage structure prior to constructing a principal structure at 925 Sheridan Road. Item 14, a second reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 8 of Title 10 of a municipal code regarding residential nonconformities. Item 15, a second reading of an ordinance consenting to the admission of an additional member, Lake Zurich, pursuant to an admission agreement to the Central Lake County Joint Action Water Agency, JAWA, down the road. Item 16, a second reading of an ordinance amending the second year of a biennial budget of the Village of Lake Bluff for the fiscal year beginning May 1st, 2023 and ending April 30, 2024. Item 17, a resolution approving the appointment of a building commissioner and deputy building commissioners. And last, item 18, a resolution approving the Village of Lake Bluff 2024-2025 official pay plan. Is there a request to remove any of these items from the consent agenda? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved?
Seconded?
Is there any discussion on any of these items? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fried,
Aye.
Trustee Ryder,
Aye.
Trustee Fisher,
Aye.
President Charlo.
Yes. Thank you. Moving forward to other businesses, and that would be item 19, a continuation of a public hearing concerning the Village of Lake Bluff proposed fiscal year 2025-2026 biennial budget. So this item follows our last April 8, 2024 Village Board meeting, where we opened a public hearing for consideration of a proposed fiscal year 2025-2026 biennial budget. Did we receive public comments for this budget?
No, sir.
And so, and if not, do we have any comments on this budget in this room? And so I believe I need now a motion to
You can
close.
just close it.
You can just state without objection.
Got it. So I declare that we close this public hearing concerning the Village of Lake Bluff proposed fiscal year 2025-2026 biennial budget. So thank you very much.
Without objection.
Without objection?
No objection.
Thank you very much. And so this will be followed by item 20, that is a second reading of an ordinance adopting the biennial budget for Village of Lake Bluff for the fiscal years commencing May 1st, 2024 and ending April 30, 2026. Is there a motion to approve this ordinance?
So moved.
Seconded?
Thank you. Do you want to do that, or do you want to do that?
Well, it's the budget that we presented at the last meeting. There's been no changes. That's not necessarily true. We added in the plantings in the Central Business District that were talked about and were listed as a footnote in the plan. And there were a couple other transfers that you threw in that were, you want to cover that?
Sure. So we added in, as Drew said, we added into Central Business District Landscape Improvement Budget Plan that was discussed at a prior Finance Committee meeting. That's $150,000 added to the budget. And that was then swept to the capital fund where that budget is. So it went from general to capital, so hence the increase to the interfund transfers and the increase to the general fund budget. So it's kind of two-pronged, but that was in essence the change. There was also a change that I made to PPRT revenue fund, which isn't included in this, the expenditure side of the budget, but I did reduce those. So if you look at the revenues later when the budget's updated, it would show a reduction back down to $45,000, which is the original amount from a few years ago. And that's based on state predictions and reallocations to the income tax fund rather than PPRT.
So, no surprises, but just want to make sure we were clear on that.
Okay.
And I assume you would need President. Yeah.
Are there any questions on the board? Anything to mention? I do not see anything. So this is a roll call. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Ryder.
Aye.
Trustee Fisher.
Aye.
Trustee Fried. President Charlo.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Bettina.
You're welcome.
Next would be item 21, a resolution adopting a revised employee handbook for the village. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Seconded.
Thank you. The employee handbook sets forth the condition of employment applicable to all employees of a village, except that certain sections are superseded by applicable collective bargaining agreements. Annually, the village administrator reviews the handbook and recommends updates and changes to the manual in order to keep with best practices in human resources and any recommendations from the Village Labor Council. This year's review includes the following major changes. Granting part-time employees 1 paid sick leave day per year, not applicable until 90 days after start of employment. As a result of the village's board discussion regarding the Paid Leave for All Worker Act, which the village opted out of on December 11, 2023. Added language to the reasonable accommodation for disabled and pregnant employees section to include those with a medical condition related to pregnancy or childbirth, in compliance with the American Disability Act and Pregnant Workers Pregnancy Fairness Act of 2023. Next is noted that the village also does not make any employment decisions or take employment action against an individual based on hair texture or styles that are related to race, national origin, medical conditions, and or legally protected categories, in line with the Create a Respectful and Open Workplace for Natural Hair Crown Act. And last, added policies related to transitional duty, fitness for duty, or an accident investigation and reporting policy per the suggestion of a village insurer, IRMA. And this year, and last, this year's review will also include various minor updates and clarification suggested by the village's labor council. Staff will be available to answer questions, and the village labor council will be available as well via Zoom. Questions from the board? Any questions? It is a voice vote,
Just the trustees.
just trustees. It's a voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much. Next on our item is item 23, our trustees' report. Next, do any trustee wish to make a report tonight?
Nope.
No report? Thank you. I believe we do not have an executive session.
You only do if you want to talk about the appointment of a volunteer. You don't have to, but there was a volunteer application that was circulated earlier. That usually that's discussed in closed session.
So let's do that. So may I have a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of discussing personal matter?
So moved.
Pursuant to the Illinois Open Meeting Acts, and that upon the adjournment of the closed session, this regular meeting will be deemed to automatically be adjourned by the same vote without the conduct of any further business. I have one motion from.
That's what I understood Trustee Ryder had said.
Yes,
Second.
Thank you.
all of that.
Thank you very much. And this concludes the open part
So
of
you
the.
need to vote on that, which is a roll call. And we do need,
We should include.
yes.
Okay.
Trustee Fisher.
Aye.
Trustee Fried.
Aye.
Trustee Ryder.
Aye.
President Charlo.
Aye.
Okay.
Sorry about that. And so this now really concludes the open part of a village board meeting. Thank you to anyone in attendance.